Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Beth and this is my Flosstube number 10. This is a channel where I talk mostly about cross stitch and occasionally some other things. I am here today in my pajamas with my hair undone because, as Ellen Reed so wonderfully put it in a video of hers recently, we're getting to know each other. You know, it's fine. I've got, this happening. Who cares? This is what the global pandemic brings you. It's me in my pajamas on the floor of my office. Am I even in focus? I can't tell. On the floor of my office making a Flosstube video. And it's like 10 p.m. Yeah, it's 10 p.m. on a work night, so. And as you can see, I have changed locations. I am in front of my tapestry in my office. This came to me in a loot crate, and I'm not going to move the camera because I'm not even convinced I'm in focus at the moment. But it's got all sorts of magical plants on it, which I love. So, before I get into actually talking about the projects, first, I'm going to show you a big accomplishment from the last couple of weeks. As I told you in my last video, I recently purchased the rest of the DMC that I was missing in my collection. So naturally, I've been bobbinating, y'all. Yes, I saved all of my DMC tags in a bowl just to be able to do that. My boyfriend's like, when are we getting that bowl back? Until I make a video. But yeah, it was a lot of bobbinating. And it was extremely worth it because now DMC is not easy to acquire. I think that DMC is not shipping to the US right now, so US distributors are not able to access it, which is unfortunate and very painful for people who are trying to kit up projects for Mania, I'm sure. I did not decide to finish out my set because I thought this would happen. I just was like, I'm pretty close. I had recently bought a bunch of DMC for kitting things up, and as I was bobbinating that, I realized I'm actually not that far off. I could just finish it. So then I did. I bought all those, and then had to bobbinate all of that. But I'm extremely thankful. That did not, however, make me immune from running out of DMC that I already had. So I've been working tons on my Harry Potter covers full coverage piece. And that's all DMC, obviously. And yeah, I'm going along, and I'm like, I'm gonna run out of this color. Thankfully, 123 Stitch had both colors that I ran out of while stitching on this piece. I don't know how long it will take them to ship it to me. I'm hoping by next weekend because I've been on a Mania schedule. Yes, I'm doing Mania. I've been on a Mania schedule where I'm working on my Harry Potter covers piece on the weekends, and then working on new start projects during the week. And that's because, you know what? I'm just going to show it to you. So that's this piece right here. So this piece is WIPGO is both of my May WIPGO goals. I have it on my WIP Go, I can't say that word. I have it on my WIP Go board, I think 6 times. So it just so happened that in May it came up twice. So that's what I've been working on the weekends all month. And you can see I've made a ton of progress. I've done almost all of Goblet of Fire this month. And I have run out of this mint green color in Goblet of Fire, which is very upsetting. And no, I can't just go around it or work on a different part. Like, it messes up my vibe. So, I'm going to wait for it to come. Hopefully it will come soon, and I'll get to keep working on this. So after I ran out of the mint green color for my Harry Potter covers piece, ooh, my foot's falling asleep. After I ran out of the mint green color, I moved on to my only other outstanding WIP Go project for like a past month. And that's Pride and Prejudice. This is a piece done by Sapphire Mountain Handcrafts. You can find them on Etsy. And they do a stitching book club. This was their first one. Now they're doing Three Musketeers. And next is The Secret Garden, which I'm contemplating. I'm going to see how it's looking first, just to make sure I really want to do it. And also maybe try and finish this one first. But so here's what it is looking like so far. I'm making good progress, but I'm also frogging. You may remember I think I talked about this in my last video, that my border doesn't match up. And I was really, really upset about it, and I was going to try and make it work. I was working on filling in some stuff on the inside of the border to try and figure out where it was off and if I could fudge it. And me being me, every time I looked at it, I was mad. I couldn't ignore it. I couldn't get past it. I couldn't enjoy this project knowing that there was that kind of glaring mistake in it that I personally thought was visible. Like, it wasn't, 2 stitches to the left off. Well, it was, but like with the border where it's supposed to be completely even, it's very, very obvious. It's not like, if the swan's neck was a little bit off, like, you wouldn't notice. But the border being off, I felt like was really obvious. So I've been frogging the border. It's actually going okay. I was really worried about frogging on the white, but I've got my seam ripper that I love with the silicone tip. This is called Seam Fix. That's what it looks like. And so that silicone tip helps you like brush it against the fabric, and it helps pull away the fuzzies from what you frogged. So I've been alternating between frogging and stitching, just, making some progress. Also trying to count to things that are close by so that I know that my counting is right, so that when I'm going back and doing the border again, I can be checking it against milestones along the way to make sure that it's in the right spot. So it's a bummer that I'm having to frog this, but in the end, I think it's the right thing for me to do. I know a lot of people are really advocating for me to just make it work. And I appreciate your advice, but it's just not who I am. And I'm okay with that. So now let's talk about starts. As it is Mania, I am starting a lot of things. I established a pattern for myself to follow for this Mania, that I was going to start something and then work on it for 3 days or 6 hours, whichever came first. And if I finished my 6 hours before the end of 3 days, that I would then go back and work on one of my WIP Go goals that wasn't finished yet. Which, by the way, my whip go goal for Pride and Prejudice was to have the border finished, which is very annoying to me, as I feel like I'm gonna finish everything else before I get back to the border. So maybe that's just gonna end up being a finish for me, and it's gonna take me a few months to get there. But regardless, I also have a couple of other things that I need to do in May that I didn't account for when I made my Mania plans, one of which is a gift for my dad, and another of which is, hi Dad. My dad occasionally watches my videos. Usually he quits after a few minutes because I get too in depth, but I appreciate that he even tries. So yeah, I'm stitching you a gift. I'm not going to tell you what it is. And also I'm participating in a fun little exchange that Michelle Bendy Stitchy is doing on her Patreon, so I've got to stitch that. So that's my plans for if I finish the 6 hours of a Mania project before its 3 days are up. But I'm giving myself a good solid chunk of stitching on each of these projects so that I'm not like putting in 10 stitches and then putting it away. That's just not for me. So my first project in this cute little bag that I started, and I'm spinning a Tiny Decisions wheel, so that's been fun. So the Tiny Decisions wheel got me to start this, which is a Mill Hill kit. And let me show you what it will look like finished. That's what it will look like. And this is my first Mill Hill kit, and my first perforated paper. So I'm really enjoying it. I think I heard that you're supposed to start these in the middle. I don't know why you're supposed to start them in the middle. I didn't start it in the middle. I hope that's not going to be a disaster. I don't see why it would. But, I mean, it's going to take up most of this. I don't know. But I feel like the oils of my fingers are really transferring badly onto the paper. You can see, like in the middle of the flower there, you can see some discoloration from the oils on my fingers. I'm trying really hard to keep my hands clean when I work on this, but I think I must just have naturally oily fingers. This is a full coverage thing, so I think it's going to cover it up and be fine. But I also have heard, like, Katie Landis has talked about totally disintegrating perforated paper with her fingers before, so I'm really hoping that doesn't happen to me. But overall, I'm really enjoying that. The only thing I'm not liking is stitching on 3 strands, because it's just not my favorite. But other than that, I'm really enjoying it. Oh, also, the other bummer thing about this. One, I don't like kits that make you guess what the floss colors are. And it's like, here, I made a floss card out of the cards that, speaking of Katie Landis, that she designed for the Show Me Retreat. And so, like, the colors of this are, let's see, are light yellow, medium yellow, gold, dark rust, medium rust. Like, okay, so light yellow, medium yellow, gold, dark rust, medium rust, but then we've got light orange, and we've got, what's the other one? Oh, and this one's yellow orange. Like, come on. You're gonna make me tell the difference between yellow orange and medium yellow and light orange? Like, are you kidding me? I think I figured it out, but I did not enjoy that. The other thing I'm doing on this is that I'm highlighting on paper. which I do not like. I do not like stitching from paper. I do not like highlighting on paper. I literally sometimes will like zoom in with my fingers on the paper and then go, oh yeah, I can't do that. And I have lots of physical patterns that I scan in. I just didn't do that for this one, and I was trying to hit the ground running, and so I was like, it's small, I'll just do it on the paper. Nope. No thank you. Okay, moving right along to my next Mania start, which I have in a Love You More Studio bag sleeve. This is a piece I got at Market. And it is Savor Every Stitch by Luminous Fiber Arts. And I don't have the picture to show you what it's supposed to look like, but it's nearly half done. This was an interesting journey. I stitched like 3/4 of what you see here, pulled it out, and restitched it. And that is because when I kitted this up, I bought all the called fors. And what I didn't realize was that this was stitched on 40 count. I did not buy 40 count. I bought 32 count, which is what I tend to stitch on most. And what I like, at least at the moment. So then I was worried because I bought only what was called for. I was worried I was going to run out. And because of our current global situation, it's not as easy as just buying more. So I decided I was going to stitch it over one on 32 count. The reason I thought this was okay was because I had just stitched the Drawn Threads Be Well and Stitch freebie on 30 count with one thread. And that looked great. And that's the way that they call for it. And I mean, it was light coverage, but it looked really good. And so I was like, well, maybe I'm just being a weenie. Maybe I should just go for light coverage and that'll look really cool. It did not look cool. I did not like it at all. So I decided that rather than forcing myself to stitch on something that I didn't like the way it was looking, that I was going to pull it all out and redo it. So I still, though, had the problem of worrying about running out. And I had also used up a bunch of floss already. So I was even closer to running out. Luckily, though, a lot of the flosses that are called for in this are not variegated. So because the pattern had a DMC conversion in it, it was very easy for me to just sub out the DMC, and I am perfectly happy with how the DMC is looking. I am still using a couple of the called fors. I'm still using Seashelly, which has some decent variegation. I don't know if you'll be able to see. Nope. This lighting is horrible and you can't see that at all. But it's a beautiful pink and it's got not extreme variation, but enough that you can see it in the flowers, but it's also not used like all over the place. So, I'm going to be totally fine with that. Also called for, I'm using Weeks Dye Works Peacoat, and that one is a variegated like blackish, greenish, grayish, bluish. I don't know. It's got a lot of depth to it. This is a beautiful color, and I believe I have enough of this. It's the color of this bird here. And you can't see it all in the video, but the the variegation of that bird is beautiful. There's a picture on my Instagram that might have a little bit better color. And then lastly, and amusingly, I think the mint green in this is the same color in my Harry Potter covers that I ran out of. And then this red is, ooh, it's not quite as like fire engine as this. I think it's my sweatshirt that's making it look fire engine. My sweatshirt is like burgundy and it looks really red in this. Anyway, this is Schoolhouse Red by Gentle Art. And this is not variegated at all, but I decided to use it because the red that's called for, the DMC red, is somehow one of the like 5 colors in the entire range of DMC that I'm still missing. What? Why? Anyway, but I don't think there's too much red in this, so I should have plenty to continue with that. I love how I'm making this video and none of the colors are right. It's like, here, I stitched this thing, but you can't see it. That's what happens when it's 10 o'clock at night and I'm making a floss tube on my office floor. And with Save Every Stitch, I did allow myself to go over the 6 hours for that one because I was restitching it. So I went to 6 hours after I pulled everything out. Next, I started this piece, which, oh my god, the colors of this are not going to come out at all. There are pictures of all of these on my Instagram, which probably don't have, like, correct colors, but it's going to be way closer. This is, I don't know what the name of this pattern is or who it's by. I got it off of Etsy. And it is a quote from Buffy, which is one of my favorite shows. So many creases and folds. I cannot get this crease. Stop that. There we go. So the only thing that I was not able to complete in this is there's some back stitching in the flowers, just a little bit. And then every center of the yellow flowers, there's a French knot, which I have not gotten to do either. I stitched on this for an extra hour and a half because I was so close to finishing it, and I was like, I gotta go to bed. I can't finish this. So someday soon it'll be finished. I'm stitching this on Color and Cotton Seashell in 32 count Belfast linen, and I have tons more fabric. I am not somebody who cuts fabric before I start. I don't know why. Probably be easier to manage all the fabric on the Q-snap, but that's just how I roll. But I will cut it when it's done so that I can use more. I'm not going to waste all of that. And that is in my board now bag. Really, really enjoyed stitching on that. I was really hoping that would be a finish, but it was not. And next, I started the Woodland Animals SAL, put on by Lakeside Needlecraft, designed by Doreen Jones. And this SAL is almost done, but I'm only just now starting it. I want to say there are 12 parts to it, maybe. But there's my very decent start. I'm obsessed with this. I'm completely obsessed with this. I want to stitch on this all day long. I love it. I have a little bit more, like, there are more grasses and stuff that go up on the other side of the owl. And then the owl is standing on a rock here. So I have to stitch that in and then backstitch the owl. And that will be part 1 done. I'm completely obsessed with this. I love this fabric too. I didn't think I would like it, mostly because for some reason, I guess I thought that stamped fabric was lesser than dyed fabric, because it's white on one side and then the stamped like green on the other side. It's really washing out in this light. It's like a bright green. And so I thought that the stamped was going to be weird, and then it's not serged on the edges, which is a big bummer to me. This is the called for fabric that I got from Lakeside Needlecraft. So I guess I was really not looking forward to this fabric after I'd got it, and it's great. I really like stitching on it. I don't like that it's not serged. A friend of mine has a serger, but she lives many, many, many miles away from me. And even if she lived down the block from me, I couldn't go to her house right now. And I know you can do things on your own with the edges. I have a sewing machine now, so I might just do like a zigzag edge around it if it's really bothering me. Okay. Last but not least, for starts, this is something I started today, so I have 2 more days on this. Except I want to say I've stitched on this for like 3 hours today, so I might finish it tomorrow. Finish my time on it tomorrow. This is Ruth Bader Ginsburg from Cloud Factory's Women in History series. So obviously I have not gotten to stitching RBG yet. But I've made a decent start on that. I'm really pleased with that. This is stitching out pretty quick, and I'm really, really enjoying it. Okay. Next. I have, do you guys like my yummy strawberry pajamas? If you're a Buffy fan, you'll get that reference. Ooh. So I've got to show you a finish that I did not finish since the last time I recorded, but I wasn't able to show it to you because it's a gift that I have not delivered yet. I still need to FFO this, but the recipient now knows about it, so I can show it to you. This is a Mother's Day gift for my mom, and here it is. So I bought a chart off of Etsy that was this notebook pattern, and it had an alphabet in it. So then I charted up my own phrase. And my mom is working on writing a book, and I'm really proud of her, and so I wanted to stitch that for her. And I think I'm going to attempt a flat fold on my own. I'm very nervous, but I just today finished purchasing what I think I need to do it, and I'm going to follow Vanna's guiding hand and hope for the best. And my mom will love it, I'm sure, hopefully, regardless. And the fun part is that over the holidays, I took home some fabric that my mom had laying around that's probably older than I am. And she was like, I'm probably just going to get rid of this stuff, so if there's anything in here you want, go ahead and take it. And I have some fabric from that I think would be perfect for it. So we'll see, but that's the plan. So that's the only finish I have to show. Next, we have haul. Whew. I have some haul. All right. Let's start with Love You More sleeves. Some of these I won during the Show Me retreat as prizes, and some of these I purchased. I don't remember which is which, but here they are. When I saw this sleeve, this one I definitely purchased because I already had my order set and ready to go with Laura and Katie, and then these came out, and I messaged Laura and I was like, have you already mailed my order? Can I add something to it? I'm obsessed. It's so pretty. And it's got strawberries on the inside. Can you tell I like strawberries? Also, on the fruit theme, we've got some metallic pineapples. And I also love pineapple. And all my curly girls out there will also know that pineapple has a bit of a special place in my heart. I'll explain that. That sounded weird. When curly girls put like hair right on the top of their head, like in a big bun, that's called a pineapple. And it's to protect our curls when we're sleeping or lazy, whatever. As you can see, I'm not really concerned about protecting my hair at the moment. Next, we have Fantastic Beasts. I've had my eye on this one for a long time, and so while I was making an order, I just pulled the trigger on it. This is one that I picked out from prizes from the Show Me retreat. I know that for sure. I love this one. It's very cute. So these are all the smaller size, and this one is the bigger size. And then lastly, my first snuggle. It's like a flannel material, and I love it. Love it. It's got some plaid on the inside. And that is the bigger size. Also, that came from Laura and Katie. I believe I showed this in my last video. And if not, here we go. I worked on a monochromatic piece a few weeks ago. This is one of the Be Well and Stitch freebies. And I ran out of the color I was using, which is Cherry Bark from Gentle Art. And I tried really hard to just when I was stitching it, I stitched it intentionally because I knew I was running out. So that only the, mostly just the scissors are left. And I was like, well, if I have to stitch that in another color, it's not the end of the world. But then everything that I tried to use instead did not look right at all. So when I was at the Show Me retreat, participating in the Show Me retreat, I was telling them about this, and I showed them this, and Laura was like, what color was it that you ran out of? And she was like, I think I have some of that. If I do, I'll throw it in with your sleeves. And she did. So now I have some more Cherry Bark to finish it up. It is a good thing that I was strategic about how I stitched, because these Cherry Barks, this is my remaining bit, these Cherry Barks are not even remotely the same. The one that I had was much redder, and the one that Laura sent me is much more purpley brown, but I think it's going to be totally fine because I left a different motif till the end. So thank you so much, Laura. I really, really appreciate that, because even before everything shut down, Cherry Bark was really hard to find. So much appreciated. That's in my Spider-Man bag. I cannot close without catching the fabric. Next, I bought some bags and some things from a friend of mine who was also at the Show Me retreat, and she's fantastic. Her name is Judy, and she's making project bags and selling them on Facebook. So I will put her information in the description. She also has an Instagram, so I'll put that in there. So this is the bag that I got from her. And it was really cool because it's just like me please style of buying things. And so this bag was mostly done when I put me please on it, but it didn't have a button. So, and same with the other one I got. And so it was a fun little surprise to see what button she picked out for it. So that was really cool. And the inside is this beautiful blue. So I really like that one. And that's crinkly because it's got something in it. Kitted project. And I got this gigantic project bag that is stunning. This might be one of my favorite project bags that I have. I love it so much. I love the gigantic green button that, again, was a surprise to me, and I was very excited. That's just green on the inside. I'm obsessed with this bag. It's huge. It fits. I've got my big owl kit. It fits this huge thing in here with no problem. Room to spare. It would probably fit an 11 by 11 Q-snap, but I have not measured it. Also from Judy, I got a thread bed and a notions tray. I don't know exactly what she's calling them. But here's the notions tray. It snaps in the corners like this. Sorry. All of my notions are falling out everywhere. Okay. So it snaps like this in the corners. So you can store it flat or roll it up. But the thing I love about this is I spread out. I like to have my stuff and I like to have room, and I completely take over the living room when I stitch. We have a 3-seater couch and I sit in the middle and I use both sides and the coffee table and I just take up space. And I usually just leave it there because it's a lot of effort to clean it up. But when I've got one of these things, everything either goes in the project bag or it goes in one of these or it goes back in the thread collection, right? Like, so it's way easier to keep myself organized. Also, I'm not losing things. Also, if I'm stitching like in the bedroom or in my office or out in the living room, I can just carry this with me. I really love this. I wish it was a little bit more solid on the bottom, but other than that, I really love it. And I think it's great that because it's not solid on the bottom, you can unsnap it and roll it up and store it very easily. I also got a thread bed, with this adorable doggy fabric, and it velcros open, and with felt holds my floss in place. So this is floss I was using on RBG, and I've been really, really enjoying this. Kind of for similar reasons to the notions tray. Thank you, Judy, for being fantastic. I'm sure I will order from you again. Okay. Now, let's talk about charts. Charts that I bought. I placed an order with Kitten Stitcher, and I placed this order for a very specific purpose. I wanted to get this pattern. And I have a very eclectic style. I'm sure you've been able to tell that. But I still have a style, and this is not it. This is just Not me. However, at the Show Me retreat, we had a scavenger hunt that was like on the internet, and you were on teams. So you and your team work together to find the list of things in the scavenger hunt, and whoever found all the things first or found the most things won a prize. And one of the things on the list was to find a snail in a Shakespeare's Peddler's chart. And neither team. There were two teams, 3 teams. Nobody found it. And then there was a tie between 2 teams. So yeah, there were more than 2 teams to start. Narrowed it down to 2 teams after the tie. Then the tiebreaker, Katie and Laura, I think, decided on the fly that the tiebreaker would be to find the snail. Whoever found the snail first in a Shakespeare's Peddler chart would win. And if you know Shakespeare's Peddler, she's got tons of huge charts with tiny little motifs in them. And so we're all like squinting at the little things like, is that a snail? Could that be a snail? And, you know, samplers have all sorts of wonky things in them. So you're like looking at like, that could be a snail maybe. No, that's not a snail. And then this one was just like, obviously, right here. Obviously that's a snail. It's like no question that that's a snail. I don't know why none of us found it before, but we didn't, and now I'm out of focus. Hello. Okay, come on. Focus, please. No? There we go. I don't know why it took us so long to find it, but I was the one that found it, which was really fun and cool. And so I got this pattern to commemorate that fun that we had. And I'm not going to stitch this whole thing. I am just going to stitch the snail. And then I've had some fun talking with the people from my team about what I should put underneath the snail, if I should put some like Show Me Retreat or Snailed It, I think was one of the suggestions. So, or maybe our team name. So I'm really excited to do that. I'm hoping to do that soon. I'm a little bit started out for Mania, but that one, I really kind of want to do that soon. Or maybe I'll start that during the Frogwarts retreat, because I know some of the same people will be there. I think that's a good plan. And then hopefully, after I stitch that, I'll pass that along to somebody else from my team, and they can also stitch the snail. But since I was buying a Shakespeare's Peddler chart, and I was on Kitten Stitcher, I couldn't just only buy one thing. So I was sitting and scrolling. This was still during the Show Me retreat that I was sitting and scrolling through Kitten Stitcher, and I found some other things to buy. So I got this piece. This is the Scarlet House, Be Merry and Bright. I really like that. Then I got also a Christmas chart. This is Brenda Gervais. Please focus. I'm having camera struggles today. There we go. That is called Jingle All the Way. I really like that. I am strongly considering Christmas in July. I have a lot of Christmas stitching that I really want to do, and I feel like I'm never in the mood for Christmas stitching when it's not Christmas time. So Christmas in July, I think, like, would get me in the mood, and I would be really excited about that. I don't, however, I am, as I said, getting a little bit overwhelmed with how much I have in my WIP pile right now. I am right at my limit, I think. I don't think I want to go more than this. So what I would like to do in June is finish off a couple of things that are close, like Buffy, my Galleria piece from last year, my freebie from So Much to Love. That one is almost done. My Cardinal Needlework freebie, that one's almost done. And like really almost done, like really close to done. And my Stay Safe at Home is almost done. So if I could like make some progress on some finishes, then I might feel a little bit better about starting a couple of Christmas things. And maybe I'll like, I don't know. We'll see. I don't have anything kitted up right now for Christmas. So I gotta start looking at that and see if I can even acquire the materials for the things that I want to do. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Also, by Brenda Gervais. I think this was a market release this year, and I love this. I love this so much. It says, "Your heart and my heart are very old friends." This is called Our Hearts. And the colors, the words, the pomegranates. Obsessed. Completely obsessed. And then from Heartstring Samplery, I got Sewn in Friendship. A token from my friend. Again with the strawberries. And I just really like this. I think it's cute. I don't know if I'll make it for a friend or keep it for myself. I'll probably find a friend to give it to. So yeah, that was my haul from Kitten Stitcher. All right, so I have a couple of books. Oh wait. Ooh. I have something I want to show you in the other room that I totally forgot about. I bought some things on Etsy, by the way. But it's kind of obnoxious to show them to you because I don't have like a physical copy to show you. But I'm going to do a stash dive really soon. So I'm going to show you those things in my stash dive when that happens. But I have something else that I bought that I want to show you. So I'll be right back. So, I saved some stitches, which is cool. I've never done that before. I found this on eBay, and this is not like a one-of-a-kind antique piece. There are definitely other ones from this pattern out there. Not a lot, but a few. It's from, I want to say it was from 1939. So vintage. And I've seen other versions of this, and I like this one better. I really like it. So this is what it looks like. I will say, this looks really good from far away. Not so good up close. The stitches are wonky and messy, and clearly this person did not care about like going down and coming up in the same hole. But I really like the all black look. The other ones I've seen have multiple colors in them. I don't know if this pattern had colors called for or not. But I've seen this 3 different places, and they all have 3 different sets of colors. So I just really like the all black. I like the silhouette of it. When this showed up at my house, my boyfriend is like, "What is that?" But I really like it. It needs to be reframed because the backing is like totally falling off. This was stitched by Mary White Paul, Leslie's godmother, in Caryville, Texas, in 1939. I've been trying to figure out what pattern this came from and like who the designer is, because clearly it's not unique. So it wasn't designed by the person who stitched it. But I cannot find who the designer is. So if anybody happens to know who designed this, that would be awesome. But yeah, I like that. Okay. So next, I'll share with you what I've been reading. I have 3 book finishes this month, which is shocking because I take forever to read a book. I have 1 physical book, 2 audiobooks. But the physical book I don't have in this room. So I don't know, show a cover picture or something. So the first thing I finished was the 3rd Lord of the Rings book, Return of the King. I have been reading that with my boyfriend. We read to each other out loud, off and on occasionally. And so we had been reading all of Lord of the Rings together. Mostly I make him read to me so that I can stitch. Helps me focus on the book. But so we were reading through all of Lord of the Rings because honestly, this is embarrassing, but I kind of needed my hand held through Lord of the Rings because I don't find it an easy read for me. I have a hard time keeping track of the locations and the characters. I had tried to read it multiple times before and not been successful. I have read The Hobbit multiple times and really enjoyed it. Lord of the Rings was too dense for me. But with his help, I very much enjoyed it. I don't think Return of the King was my favorite. I think my favorite was maybe, I don't know. I can't decide. But it wasn't Return of the King. It was one of the first 2. But it feels good to have finished them. Feels like an accomplishment. And also, we watched the movies together, which I had seen bits and pieces of before, but after having read the books, I think I really appreciated the movie more. So that was fun. And of course, he made me watch all the extended editions, so we're watching, and I'm like, oh my god, is this still going? Like, I'm enjoying myself, but ooh, long movie. Next, I finished a book that I had been working on. It's a book for work, but it's not like mandated for work. A book called The Phoenix Project, and it's about best practices in the IT world, basically. And it was definitely an interesting read for me. I felt like at first a lot of it was really common sense, but then I found a lot of instances where I was referring to it in conversation at work. So I was like, oh, well, actually, it's probably a good thing I read this. It's one of those things that, like, people in my line of work are sort of expected to read at one point or another. It's just, some required reading, so to speak, even though no one's making me read it. So I finished reading that, and I really enjoyed it. And then I finally finished reading Pride and Prejudice. I started reading this on my iPad, actually, because I had it free in iBooks. And, which I never do. I never read on my iPad. I have a Kindle for that. But I just was getting through it so slowly. The chapters are short, and so I felt like I would read one chapter and then get sleepy and go to bed. But it wasn't really getting me very far. So I finally decided to get the audiobook, and I got a steal because for one credit, because I subscribe to Audible, for one credit, I was able to get the entire collection of Jane Austen books. So that was fantastic. I went through a couple of narrators, and I was like, nope, can't do that one. Nope, that one's not gonna work. So then when I finally settled on one, then I realized it was a whole collection. It's like, oh, fantastic. So I finished that one out on audiobook, and I really enjoyed it. I thought I would like it, but I didn't expect to really love it, and I truly loved it. I loved it. I found myself laughing out loud, talking to the book towards the end. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but something dramatic happens to one of the sisters, and I was like cleaning in my bedroom. I was like, oh my gosh. My boyfriend is like, everything okay? And I'm like, oh yeah, no, just my book. So when one of the sisters is being really obnoxious, I'm like, oh my god, can you just stop? Anyway, I had a great time reading that book, and I cannot wait. I have never seen the Keira Knightley movie, and I think that's my weekend plan, is to watch the Keira Knightley movie. Also, I'm planning a rewatch of the Lizzie Bennet Diaries. If you've never watched them, I highly recommend them. It's a YouTube series modernizing the Pride and Prejudice story, and it's fantastic, and I can't wait to rewatch it. It's been, I don't know. Gosh. It's been a long time since that came out. That's produced by the Green brothers, Hank and John Green. And I mean, everything they do is fantastic. But yeah, so I'm really excited to rewatch that. But that's like more of a commitment, and I'm super behind on Flosstube, so I'm gonna work on catching up on Flosstube, especially with all the extra content being put out from the pandemic and from Mania. I'm gonna get a little bit more caught up on that. And I'm also watching through the Disney animated movies in chronological order, so I'm gonna finish that, and then I'm gonna do a Lizzie Bennet rewatch. Alright, so that was books, and I know we're running a little bit long here, but I didn't show pins in my last video, and I didn't show them because I didn't think people were that interested in them. I was like, I'm probably the only one that cares about this. But then I didn't show them, and multiple people asked me, like, did you not buy any pins? I was like, you know me, of course that's not true. Because you haven't seen my pins in like 3 months. This is not all the pins I bought in 3 months, but this is probably a month and a half worth of pins that haven't gone up on my boards yet. So I will show you. And if this is boring for you, you can either head on out of here. I'm done talking about stitching. Or you can let me know in the comments, and if you guys are not finding this interesting, I'll stop doing them. I have some stitching related pins first, and then I'll move into, I think all the rest are Harry Potter. Yeah. So I've got this pin right here. It's an embroidery hoop, and it's got some detailing along the edges, just like flowers. But it's wooden, and I love this pin. This is such a cool pin. This is from Justine Gilbuena, I think. And I got this on Etsy. From the same shop, I got a tomato pin cushion, and I really like that. Alright, moving on to Swish and Flick, an old favorite of mine. I think this is now sold out. It says, it's not much, but it's home. And the Ford Anglia flies across the top. All right, next we have, I am in the Pin of the Month Club with Mad Unicorn on their Patreon. And so this was, I think, maybe the February pin? It's January or February. This is Molly Weasley. Ooh, I missed one from the first shop. This is Harry and Ron in their train car on the way to Hogwarts. That's a chocolate frog on the window. This one is super cute. All right, then we have, this shop is Lazy Creative. We've got The Boy Who Lived Under the Stairs. And then also from Lazy Creative, we have Furry Little Problem. I know it's hard to read, but it says that in the clouds. Then we have a rather large order from Sunset Road Co., which is amusing because then immediately after I ordered these and then got the notification that they shipped, and then the next day she released more that I had to buy. So I have another order from them coming. But this one is the Fountain of Magical Brethren. I know the detailing is really hard to see, but the detailing is really cool on this one. Then we have a simple one of the Marauders. There are a lot of like golden or black and metallic ones from the shop that I liked. The ones that love us never really leave us. I love this quote. Also a quote that I really love. Can you tell I've been sort of in his place recently? Death is but the next great adventure. I didn't really talk about this last time, but we almost had to say goodbye to my grandma recently. Luckily, we did not have to do that, and so I'm very, very thankful. But yeah, I was in a certain place recently. Then we have the Astronomy Tower. This one is super cool. Got Jupiter pretty prominently there. And then, I love this one. I don't know if you're going to be able to see the cool detail on this one. Oh yeah, you totally can. This is McGonagall Cat with the square glasses. Oh my gosh. This is so cool. I love it. And my computer wants to go to sleep again. Alright. Almost done. We have Whimsy and Zest. I supported their Kickstarter. We've got Morning. It's a toothbrush. How great is that? And then we've got, also from that Kickstarter, this one is pretty cool. Proclivity for Pyrotechnics. And it's got the boom boom booms along the bridge. What a cool pin, right? Yeah, very, very cool. That was a lot of pins. But keep in mind, that's like maybe 2 months worth of pins. I'm out of focus again. Oh, Lord. Hello. Okay. All that effort to get back in focus, and I'm done. I think I mentioned my plans. I have more stitching to do on Harry Potter covers and on Pride and Prejudice. I have the small thing that I need to stitch up for the Bendy Stitchy exchange that I'm in. Gift for my dad. And, ooh, I have a lot to do. And 2 more Mania starts. Wow. That's a lot. I'm a little bit stressed out by that. I hadn't really listed it all out like that. Stitching, not stressful. Shouldn't be stressful. Stitching is fun. But I have a lot of goals, and goals are important to me, and I want to keep seeing progress. So that's what's challenging, and I'm starting all these fantastic projects, and everything I stitch, I'm like, I cannot put this down. I want to keep stitching this forever. And so it's fantastic that I'm loving everything so much. And I have so many things in my stash that I'm like, I need to start that immediately. I love that so much. But then when I see that I have like a fabric drawer in a set of cubes in my living room, full of my WIPs, and they're about to not fit anymore in that drawer, which is overwhelming. Because the more things I have in progress, the more like spread out my progress is going to be, right? So I'm not going to see finishes as quickly on things. But it's all what I want to be stitching. Like, I want to be stitching everything. It's so strange because in my job, I work on teaching people best practices for working on software. And one of the things that we teach is to limit your WIP, because if you have too much in progress, you're going to have to set things aside and come back to them later, and then have to remember where you left off, right? You might have to backtrack. You might have to scrap entirely what you started. If you have too much in flight, you're gonna have to go back and forth between things, and having too much on your mind at once always leads you to do lesser of a job at them. And you're gonna have things where other people are waiting on you to finish them. There are lots of reasons why you don't want to have too much in progress at once. You want to stop starting and start finishing. That's the phrase. And I am completely throwing that advice out the window when it comes to my stitching. Completely throwing it out the window. And I don't think it's not applicable. I think it's totally applicable. I just am ignoring it. And of course the consequences are much lower, right? Like, I'm not delivering a piece of software to provide value to somebody. I'm stitching for myself for fun. So if something sits for a little while without getting worked on, the world is not going to end. But it does result in a higher likelihood of me feeling overwhelmed at different times. So what I've learned in this mania is that I really like starting things, but I also like not having a zillion things in progress. I don't think I will ever be a monogamous stitcher. I go through periods where I'll work on smalls monogamously until they're done, or every so often I'll be working on a gift that I'll stitch nearly monogamously until it's done. But for the most part, I really like switching between projects. But I'm at, let's see. Bear with me for a second. Here we go. So I'm at 23 WIPs. By the end of Mania, I'll be at 25. And that does not include either of the other 2 starts outside of Mania that I've got to do between now and the end of June. 25 I think is too many. I think maybe between 15 and 20 is my sweet spot. And I think with finishing down some things in June, I think that will help I think that will help me feel better. And yeah, I don't want to stop starting things. I just want to feel a little bit less overwhelmed. So yeah, bear with me as I find that balance, I guess. And share my pain as I struggle to not start this bad boy like tonight. I don't have fabric for it. I don't have threads for it. I don't have room in my overflowing whips for it. But I want it. I want it right now. Alright, guys. I'm clearly a little bit sleepy at this point. It's time for me to go to bed. Thanks for hanging out with me in my pajamas, in my yummy strawberry pajamas, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your mania. I'm going to recommence binging Flosstube videos, and I will talk to you later. Bye!